Hey everybody, welcome to the Fifth Draft. This is Hyde.
And this is Colton, and we have a couple guests with us this week because our topic pretty much affects anybody that enjoys video games. So our guests are, you guys can introduce yourselves. Matt.
And Seamus.
And Seamus. Can't hear Matt for some reason. That's all good.
Well,
But-
Seamus went first on the other thing, so I thought that it just was kind of...
Well, it's just
Sorry,
hard to...
it made sense to me that way, so...
It's hard for me to sync you guys up with the audio if you go at the same time, so... That's why we did it like that.
Well, I know, but I just thought we'd follow suit.
But yeah, so this week's topic that we're going to go with, I think we're just going to jump right into it because there's not really too many updates. We've been pretty much playing the same games as a whole group. Is that the NBA 2K series announced that they are going to, for the next generation of video games, set their price point at $70. And that's just for the base game without any of the pay to play stuff or like the NBA teams. So I assume that FIFA is eventually going to do the same shit, and then Madden's going to do the same shit. And if those companies can make money off of it, it's just common knowledge that other video games will follow suit, and then the industry in a whole after next year will be $70 games, which when we were discussing this originally, the example that I gave is that I think as a group, or at least three of us before the podcast start, Seamus, Matt, and I were talking that the Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks very interesting, and it looks like a good game that I would want to pick up, but it comes out 2 days before the Cyberpunk, so that'd be effectively $140 if you were to try to get both games in the same week. So just want to have a discussion about, because we're just normal people who buy video games like everybody else, on how we think that this is going to happen and how it'll be implemented, if it will be. So somebody else would like to pick it up or take the floor? Go for it.
First of all, as every gamer is going to say, fuck that. Fuck $70.
I still remember when they switched over from 50 to 60, and I thought that was a lot. Given, like, when was that? It was 2008? When did the Xbox come out? Because I was like, couldn't believe that they went up to 60. And even then, I was like, "Damn, this is pretty like expensive."
Was that the original Xbox or Xbox?
No, the 360. Because everything before then was only $50. Because it was $49.99, and I don't know why that just seemed like a great price.
Yeah.
And then once they did like $10, you're like, all right, it's only $10 more, but it's pretty much like if you were to pre-order a game now. Because it used to be like $5 more, $10 more to pre-order a game, anyways. So it's like, all right, I guess it's not that big a deal. But if they go up to 70. I don't know. I think, though, the problem is that people are going to pay it. Like, think of how many games are out right now with microtransactions where they're literally not paying to play the game because it's free, but then they get a shit ton of money because it's a free-to-play game, and people will put money into it.
Yeah, but
so I
the
think they
bigger
can
problem,
do
though, is that games like NBA 2K and Madden and all that shit are pay-to-play plus all that microtransaction bullshit.
Yeah, and I think we've had this conversation just in general for Valorant, because we've all been really enjoying playing that. And I mean, I'll be honest, it's just like League of Legends. I like the skins, and I really would purchase them if they weren't so expensive.
They weren't so fucking $100 for a skin. What the fuck?
I mean, it's like 4 skins. Sorry, let's go for it.
I have a good question. When's the last time you bought a $60 game?
I bought Animal Crossing.
Okay, well that's
probably Animal Crossing. Yeah,
mine was Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Not just that, but I'm also planning on picking up another Mario game. I think next week.
You getting Paper Mario?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm gonna get Paper Mario. And granted, I do play the fuck out of those games, but I guess you're right, Seamus. That's March, so I haven't bought a $60 game since March.
But I'd rather buy like $60 games that are on sale now. Unless I really want to play the game, which I really want to play Call of Duty, so.
But going off of topic for a second, did you see that in Paper Mario? I read today in an article that they're not doing leveling anymore. They're changing up how the system works, so it's gonna be the same thing where like you have abilities and stuff, but you're not gonna have like the prestiging levels of like, oh, now I'm stronger. They're doing something different with it. I didn't read the full thing.
No, I didn't see that. Interesting. I'm kind of going into Paper Mario blind because of laziness. It's good. I'm not actually like looking into.
I was on Facebook and it was one of the ads, and then another off-topic thing. Do you guys watch Impractical Jokers?
I do not.
No.
Yes, of course.
So all right, so I was watching it today, and you know Saul, he's like the goofy, chubbier one.
Mm-hmm.
He calls it Mario.
Why?
I
don't know.
Heard tons
he calls
of people
it
say Mario.
Yeah, people call it Mario. Like he's like the Mario Bros. I was like,
get a
what?
rouse out of people?
No, like that's legit.
There are
just
people
what
that
they call
literally
it.
think it's pronounced
people,
like that.
So Mario Lemieux, they call him Mario Lemieux.
It got to the point where there's like a couple weeks where I thought I was crazy and wrong for saying Mario instead of Mario. There's just such a long week where I think it's only heard it pronounced as Mario. I was like, what the fuck?
Canadians say that too.
I've never heard of it that way. I guess I've only heard like mainstream media call it Mario too.
I think one of the guys I heard Mario from is from Jersey.
They're from New York, New Jersey.
In Nintendo's advertisements, do they ever actually say Mario? Like, do they ever say Mario, or like the name of the game?
Well, Mario says his own name.
Mario.
It's me, Mario.
Yep.
Oh, then yeah, why wouldn't you?
It's definitely Mario.
It's just the way that they pronounce it.
Hey, it's just how he says Mario in this part of the country. Use those.
In the part of the country no one likes. Jersey.
New Jersey, the armpit of America.
In Jersey.
Or Florida. All of those places suck.
That's the ingrown toenail of America.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. Ugh.
At least it's better than the prolapsed anus of Mississippi.
Oh, shit. You're right. Speaking of, which is so ridiculous, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but the basketball tournament is happening in Florida, or for the NBA, and the players have to go to the arenas dressed in their gear because that state can't fucking get their COVID shit in order.
Oh, so they can't have the locker room?
Apparently, they have to come already prepared for the game.
Then what's the point of playing a game?
Did you see some of the hotel rooms though that they have? They're bringing like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the chambers that you sleep in that give you like extra oxygen, like you breathe in extra oxygen and stuff like that.
They're bringing
that. Yeah, like some players are like sleeping in them, and like they're bringing a bunch of stuff to the hotel, so it's probably got more shit in the hotel than it actually would have in the locker room.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that stuff. I just saw that like their food and all of that has been like just worse than airplane food for the most part. So, Seamus, I know that you're big with hockey stuff. There's been nothing coming out of the NHL for any of that, right? Like it's pretty much just smooth sailing.
The bunch of guys in Montreal Canadiens just got tested positive. So.
Didn't I see something posted in our Discord about the Red Wings?
The Red Wings aren't in it. That's the joke.
They're just bad.
Fuck you guys.
Yes, you did, Hyde.
But yes, you did see that because they can't play anyways. But yeah, so I think the biggest, going back to the main topic that we are talking about with the price point expanding, is I don't know if the fact that so many Americans just lost their jobs or are on unemployment, and then we're coming into the fact that video games sold so much more. Like, wasn't it something where Nintendo Switch sold more in the last 3 months than they have in the entirety of it being out combined because of people like wanting it and it being out? I mean, it's still out of stores everywhere that were around. So it just kind of seems like a cash grab where they can get an extra $10 out of people and then just milk them in microtransactions. And
it is a cash grab.
I mean, yeah.
There's no 2 points about it.
How are they? I mean, I guess they're going to justify it by saying that people are buying it.
If they took out microtransactions and added $10, I wouldn't care. But
yeah,
they're keeping all that stuff in.
They make more money from microtransactions than they do from like sales, though, if I remember right.
And that should keep them from bumping it up $10.
But it's so expensive to make the video games.
You're gonna buy it anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna buy it, but
buy what?
But people are gonna buy the game.
Oh
anyways.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's at least with PC gaming, which most of us do, that's nice, is thank God for Epic and Steam, where they've got these sales where you can get games for like 70% off. But even if there's a 50% off sale, it's back to the original price point that it was in 2001 that Matt was talking about. So we're paying for a full game price now from then. I mean, and that's 50% off. It just seems like it's getting a little bit to the point where I could see in like 30 more years we're paying $100 per game, which is just ludicrous to me.
Is there a reason why they're bumping the price up? Do they say?
I can look.
I'd imagine they'd be something claiming about it's become so expensive to like make games nowadays. But like, fucking, they're already making fucking ludicrous dollars with the fucking microtransactions.
Well, the girl that this podcast, I was listening to this. Seamus, you know her name. I forget her name again. But
Elena something.
Yeah, Elena. She said
Alana.
Yeah. I forget what I was going with this. But she said that they're bumping it to just the PS5 games. So even in this
fuck PlayStation.
Well, no. PlayStation 5, the next generation, so Xbox and PlayStation 5. But specifically what's going to happen is for the PS4 and the Xbox X. No, what's the current version?
Oh, Xbox One.
So Xbox One and PS4 will be for $60, where the Xbox X and PS5 will be for $70. So, and then so she had people who are on in the industry talk about it, but their thought process was like, obviously you're going to be using more people and all of that, but you still can't justify the $69.99 a price point.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but we know a guy in the industry. Why don't we have him on right now?
I figured he wouldn't want to talk about it, honestly. Okay, so 2K came out and said, we believe our suggested retail price for NBA 2K21 on next-generation platforms fairly represents the value of what's being offered, power, speed, and technology that is only possible on new hardware. While we are confident that NBA 2K21 will be a monumental leap forward for the franchise and a standout visual showcase for the next-generation consoles, we recognize that it is our responsibility to provide value to our fans for the NBA and the NBA 2K players. That is what they said when they said that the price was going to $69.99.
You see, I've heard that every new generation of sports game is shittier than the version before it.
I agree with that.
So what value is being added?
In general, the next generation, whenever the first games are that come out, usually suck.
Yeah. I
they doing it to shooters too, or is it just sports?
Well, okay, so the idea behind it, and we don't know. This isn't like a confirmed hypothesis, but since the sports games are every year, what's going to happen is they're going to offer this one for $69.99. If it meets their numbers, I think it's Sega that does the NBA 2K games. They will then just start marking all of their games up because it's just 2K games.
I hope it fails.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just like what Hyde said. It's gonna be like people buy those games anyways.
Yeah. I think it might though, like, because if you think about it, maybe the younger generation, but I think that more of like the 2K games and stuff like that. I think the market for them are like typically a little bit older people compared to like young ones, and like I know for a fact like some of my friends that play those kinds of games, they'll just be like, it's not worth $70. Like I'm just gonna wait for it to drop. Well, like Seamus plays those games. Like Seamus, would you buy $70 for NHL 2021?
No way in hell.
Right, like. So that's what I'm hoping.
I would never pay $70 for anything EA makes.
But see, that's the issue is that we've said that we're not going to buy any of the NHL or FIFA or the baseball or anything like that games, and what do we end up doing the week after it comes out? We end up buying it. It's like
that is true.
I mean, it's just one of those things where
I just think that that extra $10, I think might be the mark for some people. Just be like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah,
because a lot of times people are like, I'm just getting the new game to get it, and like I don't know. To me, $60 seems a lot less than $70. I know it's only a $10 difference,
but it's like a percentage difference.
Yeah, and it's like, well, now I'm only $30 away from 100 compared to 40.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and not only that, but I don't know, just $69.99, and that pushing it over
plus tax.
There's gonna be a lot of memes with that too.
It's gonna be like a $75 game.
Yeah, which like
it'd be $77 in Illinois.
Which is, I don't know. It's just like even if it was Call of Duty, like could you imagine paying $75 for the next Call of Duty and then also knowing that you're gonna have to pay the $24 a month? Like,
well, I wonder if Halo's gonna follow suit, because Halo's launching with the new Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, if Xbox was smart, they'd keep it their games $60 and they'd make a shit ton of money.
Well, I saw something that said Xbox is only gonna have like 5 games out the first year, 5 to 6 games.
That's fine. They had a bunch of shit last time. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, technically, Microsoft hasn't had their, what's it called? Their fake E3 yet. They had their pre-fake E3, but they haven't done their actual, like, where they announced the console like Sony did. They really need to actually show the games that they're coming out with.
It was a disaster for Xbox One.
I remember the announcement day. That was oof.
The day that it became the X-Bone.
The X-Bone, yep.
And then wasn't that the day that they basically said that it wouldn't be backwards compatible, it wouldn't be this, it wouldn't be that, and then Sony's press conference was the next day and was like, "Oh, we'll do all of that for you."
Yeah, that was Microsoft's big mistake. Was going.
You had to be online, right?
Well, as it's gone on throughout the years, Sony's always had theirs after Microsoft. Like back when the PlayStation 1 and Xbox were launching, or maybe it was Dreamcast, and Sony went up and their whole press conference, I think it was Xbox, went up and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna sell it for $399 or something like that." Sony walked up, said $199, and then got off the stage.
Well, that's
all that.
PS2 is also like dirt cheap to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's just, I don't know. It comes down to this where there is a breaking point And I think Matt is right. I think this will be the breaking point.
You know,
at least.
Speaking of the Xbone launch, I don't mean to interrupt. Do you guys think people would have been as angry if the Xbox One didn't have a disc drive?
Yeah, because people like to bitch about everything.
I mean, like,
right.
say it just didn't have a disc drive, so you could only buy games from, like, their online store. Do you think all the fucking negative attention they would have got would have been, like, the same?
I think...
I haven't bought a physical copy in, like, 3 years.
If it was the same price, then yes, I think people would have bitched. But if it was $100 cheaper than the price without it, the disc drive, I don't think so. But I also think at that point in time, was that the 360 when it launched?
The 360 was the one that was already out, and then they announced the Xbone. When did the? Because like
when did it launch? So it came out in 2013, so 7 years ago. Were we really buying? I was still buying discs then.
Yeah, I still bought this.
I was slowly transitioning to only digital around then, but I didn't buy the Xbox One until like, I don't know, 2 years after it launched.
I bought it like 2 years later.
So I think people would have been upset still, just then. I think now they could launch it without a disc drive, and people would be like, but they'd be okay with it.
Well, because like right around the time it launched, I kept hearing the discussion talking about like how GameStop is like starting to kind of tank financially because not that many people actually buy physical copies anymore. Since everything now you have enough storage space on your hard drives, the internet's good enough to download that shit for the most part. Mm-hmm. Like I know it doesn't apply to everyone because like internet's not super great across the country in general. But like
I'd rather they give us a bigger hard drive.
Yeah, like. I don't know if there would have been as much of a shit show if they just said, yeah, sorry, there's no disk space, or there's no disk drive.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I just don't know if people were necessarily...
But if there's no disk drive, then you wouldn't be able to do the backwards compatibility for the 360 games.
That wasn't there to begin with in the first place.
So that's what Hyde's saying, is he's saying if they said we've got no disk drive, so you can't be upset about the lack of backwards compatibility because we don't have that.
Well, not to mention, it's like a lot of people were upset to begin with when they announced it because you had to install the games to your drive and you had to have the CD still in the disc drive to play it. It's like if they just got rid of the
PlayStation does that too, though, right?
What was that?
Seamus? You have to do that with the PlayStation too, though,
yeah.
Right, Seamus?
With what? Download? Yeah.
Or like, yeah, install it from your disc and then also have the disc in the drive. Which was a thing people bitched about with the PS4. I remember. Yeah, PS4. Or no, PlayStation 3. Excuse me. Because people were bitching about the PlayStation 3. And then they just tacked it onto the fucking Xbox One. And everyone was fucking pissed. It's like, yeah. But if they didn't have the disc drive, then obviously you had to install it from the internet. So, like, people wouldn't be able to really bitch about that. Because people were bitching about being able to, like, share your games with people. Because that was a whole fucking thing, too. I don't remember all the details with that. Except for Sony making that real, like, taking the piss out of Microsoft video of, like, here's how you share your games. And he turns to the head of Sony, here you go. And he just hands him the disc.
That was a good one.
That was really good. Really shitting Microsoft cereal with that.
So along the same vibe then, do you think that, because Sony's already doing it, and Microsoft doesn't give a fuck because they own basically computers, so they're already doing it. Do you think this is the last console generation? Where after this, it'll be, for the most part, these companies will either just make games and they'll go on computers, or they'll have what effectively is just a tower with their OS on it for the next...
I'm just going to say, they wanted this current generation to be the last one, and then they announced the Xbox One X and the fucking PS5.
Yeah.
There's never not going to be a console.
Yeah, I don't think there will be either. I think the how easy it is to plug in and play compared to having to keep... Like, for instance, if you have a PC, you have to go in and like update all your drivers and everything. When on the Xbox or PlayStation, you literally just have to just click update and it does it for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, do you think if it? Well, that's what I mean. Is if it's like basically the next one will be the dumbest downed version of that, where it's like, oh, it's the new Sony. It's basically a computer. Oh, you want to update it? Oh, you get this thing and swap and switch, and you're like, that's basically just RAM. Or you just grab this, and you're like, that's just a fucking graphics card, you idiots! Like, what the fuck? Like, because I could see that shit happening.
But they're making money on when they sell the consoles. So, like, even like, I don't think they'll stop the consoles because they are making money on them. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, basically the reason I say that we are kind of going in that direction is the fact that New Horizons coming to the PC, which I am so fucking pumped for because I've wanted to play that, and
it's just a Far Cry skin.
Is it?
Wait, no, it's not a Far Cry skin. That was also PlayStation exclusive that's coming to fucking PC. Death Stranding. I want to pee on some ghosts, goddammit.
That is already.
You want to carry some boxes across the landscape?
I want to carry some boxes and a baby and some motherfucking Monster energy drink.
I want to. Okay, so Hyde, you'll think that this is ridiculous. I hope my Steam is logged in. It literally says, oh no, it's updating. I'm gonna have to log in, so this won't work. In Steam, it literally says walking simulator as under game description, which is ridiculous.
It's a community walking simulator with ghosts that you can pee on.
Yeah. Fucking. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just a Hideo Kojima fanboy, okay? That crazy fucking bastard.
I don't think it's necessarily bad, and I mean, it sold so well that he's obviously going to get a new game. Doesn't he already have a new?
Yeah, he said they started production on one because they're working on a different one, but they scrapped that, so they're doing a different thing now. But
yeah,
I've heard Kojima described as somebody who really. He's essentially a movie nerd, like, you know, those fucking film nerds. Mm-hmm. But he does it with video games, and he's the only one who does it like that. So people think he's a genius, but fucking... If he did movies, everyone would think he's just a fucking hack.
Please tell me that he said that.
No, that did not come from Kojima. That came from someone else.
All right, well, so then the overall consensus is I will try my hardest not to buy a $70 game.
I can promise you I won't buy that $70 game.
Well, I don't mean that game. What if Cyberpunk 2077 is to be $70?
I'm going to wait and see if it's actually good.
Yeah,
then.
I'd have to wait and see the reviews before I go out and buy a fucking $70 Cyberpunk.
You all would fucking buy it.
I would.
I'd probably buy it, but I'm not buying it right away.
What?
Well, how long do you think it's going to drop in price?
I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for a price drop. I'm just waiting to see, like, everyone say, yes, this is a very good game.
I'd say 6 months for it to drop in price.
Because how much is this, 60 though?
I think there'd be a sale that you could get it for $49.99, like a 20% price drop, just because it's CD Projekt Red and they're known for their games to be very good, so they last forever. So they're willing to like do little price drops. What about you, Matt? Would you, if it was like a game that I don't know if you're super excited for Cyberpunk?
No, I don't really care about Cyber. I haven't looked at anything about it. I don't really like solo player games.
Well, then, okay, so then what's the I guess Call of Duty, right? Because Call of Duty is one that you were last super pumped about.
Yeah, probably.
If that was, they said, okay, it's going to be $70 on launch, what would you purchase it?
I don't know. The way I'm trying to think about it right now is would I have bought this one for $70 while it was out? And I don't think I would have.
Not with all the problems that were going on with it.
Well, and see, my issue.
Well, I don't know. I probably fucking would have. I was pretty pumped for this game to come out.
Well, my issue with that is, for me, with these video games and these aspects, or at least this, like, the culture of video games, is if I don't buy it within the first 2 weeks when y'all purchase it or playing it, I won't get it because I really shouldn't have bought Call of Duty. Like, I don't fucking play the game.
Well, I don't think I'm getting a new console anyways.
Really? You think you're just gonna stick with PC?
Probably. I might get the new Xbox when like I never buy the first gen when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I usually wait until like the better version comes out, and then I'll buy that. Well, I don't know. I didn't even buy my own Xbox for this one, but
but I mean, the way that the Microsoft is going, you'll be able to play with everybody that you play with anyways because you can play on PC.
Yeah, but to me, the big thing is like I think there's games that should be played on console. And I think there's games that should be played on PC.
Like every single sport game ever created should be played on console.
Yeah, like I don't play sports games at all, but like Halo should be played on a console. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what it should be.
Why not? Okay, so to dispute that, what if you just have a controller and you're playing on the PC?
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so it's the controller, not the actual console aspect of it.
Well, no, but if you're playing against someone else that has like a mouse and keyboard,
you're at a huge disadvantage, especially in Halo.
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous. So is that the way that it is in competitive Call of Duty? All of the pros play.
Yeah, they all play on PlayStation or Xbox.
Because of the
Xbox
auto-aim?
only. Yep.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like differences, so they try to like level the playing field.
Which makes it more advantageous to be so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So I mean, so if that's the case, then we're kind of so Seamus, you're still a no, even if it was a game that you really liked.
Yeah, probably. I wait.
You wait.
They always drop in price.
So what if the game is considered... Okay, so then here we go. Here's the next step. What if it's what we all expect Cyberpunk to be?
Cyberpunk
amazing.
2077, 9.9 out of 10 across the board.
You wait a week and you're like, motherfucker, this isn't going to drop. I know it's not going to drop for months.
Yeah, then I'd probably buy it.
Probably buy it. Okay. Hyde?
I mean, yeah, mostly I just wait for reviews. Like after a week, if it's still up there, I'd probably get it.
Okay.
Like if I'm paying that much, I want to make sure I'm buying something that's actually good.
Yeah.
But are you going to turn around and buy both Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk, or are you just going to buy one and then wait for the other one to go down?
See, so then that scenario, I already know that Ubisoft drops the price to fucking stupid levels in like a month, so I would wait till Assassin's Creed goes down and then be really stupid and never pick it up because I've already seen so much on it.
I think thing? Like for me, like if you're playing a single player game, why don't you just watch someone do a playthrough?
It's not the same.
Like I legit wanted to buy Batman Arkham Asylum, and I was like, yeah, I don't wonder if it's any good. I just watched the playthrough. I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy this. I'm done.
Well, the main question is if it's a single player game, like say The Witcher, where there's like so many different fucking choices you can make that it affects the story. Like
and I could see that. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was agreeing with your point. I can see what Matt's saying because I can. The Last of Us 2. It's easier. You could basically, it's a one story, one shot. Nothing changes. You could just watch it, and it basically counts as you playing it. Where I agree with what Hyde's saying is that your playthrough of The Witcher is pretty much only your playthrough. Like, doing, you know what I mean, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen in a lot of scenarios.
Well, say I just personally get bored of the games, so I don't really have like. I guess I'm more biased on it because I don't really care for them.
I mean,
so to me, it's like I don't know why anyone would spend $70 on a single player game.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it both ways, right? Like, there's no reason to spend $70 on a single player game because you could watch somebody else play it, and there's no reason to pay for developers to have games cost $70 that are multiplayer games because look at Valorant. They're clearly making hundreds of thousands of dollars for a free game.
Yeah. Well, and two, like, I would never buy a $70 game if I didn't have other people to play it with. So, like, let's go back to that Call of Duty scenario where if I would pay I wouldn't pay $70 if no one else of my friends bought it.
Well, that turns it into a really weird situation though, because then everybody's waiting for somebody else to buy it.
Well, usually someone's like, "Oh, I'm definitely getting this," and I'll be like, "All right, I'll look at it," and then I see how many people are getting it. But like, if only like if everyone's kind of like on the edge, I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna wait, because then we'll all wait.
Yeah.
But I'm not just gonna single-handedly like go out of my way to buy a game that I'm only gonna play by myself for $70.
Yeah. That seems fair. I mean, the part that well, we're getting near the end of the podcast, so I'll leave it with this. If you're thinking about getting just the sports genre, which I like, FIFA, NHL, Madden, and NBA, that's $2,800.
Jesus.
No, it's $200. Is it $280? It's
$280. Yeah, that sounds right.
If not $350, which is still that's still a lot of money for baseball, because baseball would be coming to the show is coming. That's too much money for the sports games that are also hitting you with microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think obviously the datas will be skewed because they'll just assume that people are buying them even when they buy them on sale because they'll go with played numbers. But this is probably, for people who games, most important scenario to vote with their pocketbooks. Any final words from the rest of the crew?
I actually want to kind of clarify my stance of the spending $70 on Cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. I've been hyped up for Cyberpunk for like about a year now, so that's kind of why I'd be willing to spend $70 on it. I don't think I'd spend $70 on a game willy-nilly.
Yeah, and I mean, I can agree with that, but it's the same scenario that we joked around earlier. Everybody has a price. And that's what I'll leave it at with
Everybody has a price. $20 is $20.
Yeah,
$70 is $70.
So, but yeah. So, any final words from Seamus and Matt for being on? Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
All right, cool.
I think that's it.
This is the 5th draft. I'm Colton.
I'm Hyde. We'll see you next time.
Last word.
All right. Peace.